afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a new edition of the Sports Mark on Espresso Live. This afternoon, I'm joining in with Annelies. How are you, Annelies?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. So this afternoon, we have a few topics, a few different sports events we would like to go through. So we are going to talk about the football in the country on the national championship, and we are also going to talk about rugby. Then we are going to talk about
The golf.
the golf. Okay, so last week there was a heavy rain. Everybody has saw that. So due to that, many of the games were cancelled for the PVFA. So they will all start back again this week. So Saturday, I think the first game is on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday. So we are going to talk about rugby. Do you know a little bit about rugby and this?
Yes, I watched some of the games, especially is it like football? It's all about playing with the ball.
Every sport is Every sport is it's like that. You play with the ball. Well, not every sport. Okay. So actually, the Vanuatu Rugby League is the governing body of the rugby league in Vanuatu. So they look after the overall direction, strategic of the game, and also to develop the sports domestically, regionally, and internationally. So this week, the NRL and the Federation of International Touch, which is in partnership with the Australian Defence Force, they are conducting a sports program that will be held this week, the whole week. So all of the players, there are 40 participants, and they are all in camp at the Holiday Inn. So they have organized a pretty big event for that, and I had the chance to meet Antonio Korikalo, who is the president of the Vanuatu Rugby League. So he will tell more about what is happening this week at the holiday.
Thank you, Chris. My name is Antonio Korikalo, and I am currently the president of Vanuatu Rugby League. I have been associated with the Vanuatu Rugby League for the last 8 or 9 years or so. I have a lot of passion for rugby league, and I see plenty potential growth in this sport for our youth and for our country.
Can you explain a little bit this week's program? What are you doing, developing all rugby with the women's team and the men's team as well?
Okay, so Chris, many years ago, every time we played a game of rugby league, we did not have proper internationally or nationally accredited officials. So for many years, it was a wish or a dream for our players or officials to become nationally accredited, so that the reffing and the coaching is of standard. We have been given an opportunity through the DFAT program, Pacific Sports Program, that has come through the Australian Defence Force, through the partnership with the National Rugby League, which is in Australia, and also the Australian Defence Force Rugby League. So they've provided opportunities in which courses are made available to upskill our officials in terms of referee, coaching, first aid, and also sports trainer or sports medicine. Like I mentioned before, the risks were very high. We had to look for people who had these capabilities, but were not available in country or not available all the time due to other sporting federations booking them out, and the resources were low. Today we have put in 40 participants, which is a large number that we believe will go through these courses and will learn a lot in these courses and can be used to, of course, lift the standard of the games and carry the game forward in Vanuatu.
So what I've understood is that there's not only players from Port Vila only, so you also flew some of the players from other islands as well?
That's right, Chris. This program was first scheduled to happen in March of 2020. Unfortunately, there was a COVID outbreak. So the program ran only in other Pacific Island nations and finally came to Vanuatu this year in March, and again the COVID outbreak this year. So we moved it to May. The initial program had participants throughout Vanuatu invited, starting from Tafea province to Torba province. Unfortunately, due to current government provincial restrictions, only Sanma province can fly in and out to Port Vila, so they were the only participants that have come in. We've made back those numbers with the Port Vila participants to reach a total of 40. This includes both male and female players, as Vanuat Rugby League has two competitions, which is the men's and the women's. So we have seen a lot of involvement in women's sports. Noting that also, a lot of the participants are also police officers through the Australian Defence Program. We have adapted with the Vanuatu Police Force. A big thank you to the Vanuatu Police Force who are assisting us in providing police officers in the islands who will take these skill sets and go back and expand in their particular zones or islands.
So the referees will be able to referee in other tournaments as well, internationally?
That's right. So there is different levels of certifications. Level 1 only currently allows domestic competition. However, the Australian Defence Force has a program in which it goes up to level 3. So after you complete your certificates, you will then have to be involved in officiating matches in different categories like under 15 or under 18, under 16, and then you can start listing the number of games you have officiated, and then you apply for the next level, which is level 2, which now can be regional. And after you complete regional, you can then do international, which will be level 3. But again, you must have experience first in the different levels to be able to do international. But however, these courses are in general are from the National Rugby League itself. So it is of their standard that we must meet to be enabled to play fairly, and also so that the standard of the game is of one elite level. And that is what we want to bring, and that is what the Australian government is doing for the Pacific, to bring up each sport discipline to come up to the same level, so there is no differences in terms of competitions and stuff like that.
So after this training, will there be competitions that you will be participating in?
Correct. So on Saturday is going to be our test day or practical day. They will not be able to receive their certificate unless they have done a practical or ref or officiated or coached or support role. So we have prepared an under 15 and also mixed teams that will be participating at the Holiday Inn Beach and also field, which is going to be a mini league competition and a mini touch competition, so that we can test our participants. And these tests will be done, videos will be taken, or it will be streamed live back to the facilitators in Australia, who will then give their feedback and rank them accordingly to their current status. So yes, it is a strict process in which we must follow, and we We believe that our participants are eager and can do the best in their ability to partake in this competition, to ref and officiate, so that they can be pass their courses and certified as referees and coaching courses and sports trainers.
They're now learning the... So, and as part of the selection, will there be international competitions that will be organized with the Vanuatu Rugby League team?
The Vanuatu Rugby League 2022 season has been pushed back and has just started this week. And the first program is the workshop. After this program, we will now receive a lot more available refs, a lot more available coaches that we can utilize to give back to the teams so that they can either build new teams or replenish or upskill their current teams' levels. So the plan is for the season to start in June. There is no exact date yet. However, it's going to be a first nine-a-side competition. And by the end of the year, we should have a selection already prepared to start training in high performance to begin preparations for Solomon Islands mini games in 2023.
Thank you, Antonio. That was the president of the Vanuatu Rugby League, Antonio. For all the rugby fans, remember the championship for both men and women will be starting in June, mid-June. They haven't confirmed any date yet, but hopefully June is going to happen.
Thank you, Chris. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about golf. As you know, golf is a club and ball sport in which players use various clubs to hit balls into a series of holes on a course in a few strokes as possible. So the game at the usual level is played on a course with an arranged progression of 18 holes. So the modern game of golf originated in 15th century in Scotland. It was also played at the last Olympics in Tokyo, and it is also in the program of the Pacific Mini Games. So golf has been a sport on the Pacific Mini Games program 7 times in the past.
Yeah, I think Vanuatu is sending some of the athletes for the Pacific Mini Game this year.
Okay.
And also for those who are interested and would like the children to learn about golf, they have opened an academy last year at the Port Villa Golf Club, which is in Mele. So they are organizing lessons on Sunday. So it's Beverly Stafford who is teaching them. So if you want your kid to learn about golf, how to play golf, feel free to go and enroll them at the Vanuatu Golf Academy.
Yeah, so it's in Port Villa. You can play golf at Port Villa Golf and Country Club and the Holiday Inn and Diwali.
They are also planning on organizing competition. Usually we have, for the past years, we have a tournament that was called Vanuatu Golf Open. So the committee, I heard that they are trying to get this year, so it will be around September, August or September, to invite some international players when the borders will open again. Yes.
That's
So,
a really fun game.
yeah, so that was for this week. Thank you all for following us. When for the football fans, when the football games will start, I will try to make some highlights of some of the main game happening in the weekend. So we'll see you next week.
Next week, Wednesday.
On another sports edition for this sports.
Next week at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
See you then.